Yeah, there's a pair of hawks flying there just over the top of a building. Very interesting, kind of a nice building. Yeah, it's a very interesting landscape out here. I can hear an airplane. There's a little airplane right there. It's like a radar over here or something. Wow. What's this behind me? A huge anchor? Well, from the Kitty Hawk. Yes. I like the chain. I wonder where we're at. Let's take a closer look. There she is right there. Wow. SR-71s on the sidewalk leading you right into here, right into the entrance. Kalamazoo Air Zoo. Let's go inside. Well, folks, this is the original P-40 Warhawk of Sioux Parish. That's Sioux flying. It's Fifanila, the little mascot of the Women's Army Corps. It's painted the faded colors of the P-40s that served in North Africa, World War II. I've seen Sioux fly this in 3 different air shows in Kalamazoo, fully acrobatic. Whale of a pilot. Talked to her twice, shook her hand. Yep, she's one of the founders of the Air Zoo. Let's go inside. As you enter the main museum, kind of a curve through the clouds. What'd you think of this? Now, some of these B-25s that had the machine gun kits installed in the nose is this one, 850 calibers, and they had 250s on either side, giving another 4 and bringing it up to 12 forward firing. But then the top gunner in the top turret, he could also swing around forward, adding 2 more. There was another version that mounted a 75 millimeter cannon right here along the side of the nose, fired from inside from the radio operator, and went after shipping in the Pacific with those. And then, of course, they could drop bombs. Same kind of aircraft that took off the Jimmy Doolittle raid early in the Pacific in World War II. This is set up for ground attack. I'll be right back. Just a little shot here of the ammunition that's going to be used here in any of this aircraft. You'll see the 37 millimeter in the center was fired right through the center propeller hub of the 39 Air Cobra. Everything else, your 20 millimeters on either side, your 50 calibers, or your 303 British, or your 30 M1, all in the other aircraft. Right back. The P-39 Air Cobra engine was mounted behind the pilot. And the propeller shaft, the drive shaft, ran right between his legs, sat right on top of it. And of course that was also part of the cannon barrel. Like 50 calibers on either side of the nose. And the wings. And then the 37 right there. Right up here on top, there's a piece of hardware that's lovingly and respectfully known as the Jesus nut. And I'm not kidding you. If that were to come loose and pop off, you better pray to Jesus, because that's the next person you're going to be seeing. And I say person with a capital P. It's attached to Huey aircraft. This one happens to be attached to a Cobra gunship. This has the 3-barreled 20 millimeter. The ones that we had in West Germany were flat glass Cobras. They called them the cockpit glass, but were flat design. This was a little bit earlier design, and they were sporting tow missiles, and of course the triple 20. A4 Skyhawk. That's what John McCain was sitting in when the big fire erupted on the deck of the carrier, and he, middle of the fire, he jumped out of the cockpit, stepped over through the fire onto the refueling probe that you can see right there, and then jumped over onto the deck and escaped. And then later shot down, become a POW, and then a senator, and the rest is history. This one's for you, Dad. A little shot directly behind and below an F-18 Hornet. Here's the hook. Here is a beauty. It's the engine. That. It's an SR-71 engine. It's a J58. Made in America. There you go. Boys and girls in high school. I go to engineering school, technical school. This is how it's done. All by hand. All by hand. Isn't that something? Here's the exhaust with the turkey feathers. This is where we've seen big thrust diamonds coming out of here in full afterburner. All these turkey feathers would be moving different directions, like an aperture closing in tighter and tighter. All those little holes that you see spraying raw jet fuel under pressure into the red hot exhaust coming out of these nozzles and just exploding back through here, giving it super thrust. And it's afterburner. That's how a pair of these could take one of these right here up to the edge of space. A couple thousand miles an hour. This entire area they set up for special events, and they can put several people in here. I think the building said as I came in they can put a couple of thousand people as the building's capacity. But yeah, they have fantastic events right here. Many focused on veterans. From their cockpit at 84,000 feet, they can see the curvature of the Earth. The fuel weights, wow. On the ground, the plane weighs 60,000 pounds, 140,000 pounds with a full fuel load, cameras and crew. And when they land, they have to deploy the drag chute, just like the space shuttle or top fuel dragsters. There's the inventor, Kelly Johnson, the Skunk Works. This airplane can travel from Kalamazoo to Chicago in 3 minutes, New York to LA in an hour, New York to London in an hour and 55 minutes. Yeah, they also invented the U-2 and a few other things. Can fly over 2,900 statute miles. And like I mentioned, Mach 3 plus, over 2,000 miles an hour. This is the twin cockpit model. As you can see, the second cockpit on the rear. All right, let's move along. Past the Vought FAJ Crusader, Vietnam era. It has 4 20mm cannons. They're single barrel cannons, or rotary feeds. There would be the firing ports. Inside it remind you of a large revolving cylinder on a revolver, a pistol. Except they're large and they hold 20 mic. Hey, wow, a Tomcat. Here's what pushes a Tomcat. Made in America. I'm telling you, you young men and women can do it. Design engineers, construction, building. There's quite a little piece of ordnance right there. I think that's a Sparrow. I know these down here are Phoenix. Absolutely, positively. That's the reason this aircraft was built, was to fire the Phoenix missile to protect the aircraft carriers from incoming enemy aircraft going to try to sink the carrier group and the carrier itself from over 100 miles away. These Tomcats would go up and just blast it full afterburner and get 200-300 miles away really fast, and then launch these. But they travel about 100 miles and then hit the enemy that's coming in. That's what they were made for. This this is the firing port. A 20mm Vulcan Gatling gun. And I have one right here for everyone to look at. There it is in its installation bay. Here's a cutaway version right here. And everybody can see right here is one of the rounds of ammunition. I fire 3,000 rounds per minute. I'll be right back. This is the famous Nazi V1 flying bomb, the buzz bomb. Wreaked havoc over London. And then came the V2. Was ist das? No lifting. Right behind it, it's a Hispano Buchan, which is a Spanish version, clone, part for part, of the German Me-109 Messerschmitt. These are 4 of the 8 Browning 50 caliber machine guns on the wings of the P-47 Thunderbolt, the Jug. Francis Gabby Grabowski had 28 aerial victories in Europe in one of these. He lived to tell about it. Here's an experimental from World War II. The Curtiss-Wright XP-55. A pusher. It's a good idea. The men there in the control tower in Europe waiting for the 17s return in their missions. Torpedo bomber, World War II, Pacific. God bless somebody. I don't know. Jeez. That's some tough duty there now. Well, this is Pete Parrish, the husband, Sue Parrish. Of course, a pilot, veteran, so forth. Photographs of him over the years. Co-founder of the Air Zoo. Making the museum. There's all the cats. That's why they call it the Air Zoo. Of all the Grumman cats, a couple of them are missing now. But the wild cat, the hell cat, bear cat, tiger cat, so forth. And we have the tomcat. There's these flight gear. Of course, Mr. Parrish is, and his Sue as well. They're both passed away years ago. But for just his running around aircraft, he'd fly it wherever he wanted to go, business trips or wherever. Fly his own private Wildcat, and here it is. Isn't that cool? Now, the landing gear are not automatic. Once you're in the air, you have to crank them up. And here is a model that shows you how hard you have to work as you crank to make the landing gear extend and retract. Just think I have to do it. Look how clean. This is flight ready. Beautiful, beautiful condition. See the oil right there running out of the hub a little bit. Constant speed propeller. Very cool. Top shelf. 450 caliber machine guns. World War II. Aboard the ships. Aircraft carriers. Behind me here is the C-47 Skytrain, World War II. Pacific and in the ETO. You've seen these in Private Ryan. You've seen these in the Band of Brothers. $20,000 Allied paratroopers jumped on D-Day. See these stripes? These are invasion stripes, specially commissioned to be painted on the aircraft, taking part in the invasion of D-Day in World War II. Really cool. Be right back. Well, here is a satellite or some kind of a landing craft. Yes, it is, because there are thrusters on all four corners and pads that can come down and land. Yeah, they were still working on this. I wonder what this is going to be. All kinds of probes and devices on arms, articulate. Get back to you on that one. And of course, during D-Day, some of these sky trains pulled gliders. And there's one of the gliders right there. Invasion stripes. Sometimes there'd be a Jeep inside these. The rear end could come off, swing off to the side, and they loaded in the rear. It would swing shut, lock shut, and then it would be pulled down the runway, and into the air they went. There'd be a pilot and a co-pilot that would do nothing more than steer these. And then all of a sudden they'd let the cable go, and these guys would be on their own. And the pilot would have to steer it in and come in and land it. You see on the bottoms they had a combination of tires, wheels, and skis. And most of the time, these tires, these wheels would break right off and they'd be skeeching across the bottoms. Right there you should see. Really something. Over here's something dear to my heart. The largest bomb. It's over here by this plane. I found in Geneseo, Illinois, at a Army surplus warehouse, and I bought it. I brought it back to Kalamazoo. I refinished it, and then loaded it in a truck and brought it over here and donated it to them, because it was one of the types dropped by the AD-4 Skyraider and many others back in the day. Let's go take a look at this. If you ever watched the movie The Bridges of Toko-Ri, in the rescue scene, you'll see these Skyraiders coming in and using their 20mm cannons, holding down the enemy while the downed pilots were trying to escape. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but it's a darn good movie, the special effects and so forth. In Nam, these were called Sandies, and they used them extensively for ground support, enemy suppression, rescue missions. They could loiter for a long time. They could carry a heck of a load of armament. In the wings were 4, 2 on each side, 20mm cannon. And here's one of them here. And here's one mounted here. These were carrier-borne or land-based, but mostly carrier-borne. So you can see how the wings could fold up as they stored them. One of the 20s and the barrel coming out. Of course, here's aircraft carrier with a deck stacked with Sandies here and there. Very, very powerful engine. Very powerful engine. And here are the bonds. The large one that's here on the floor, it's a 1,000-pound Mark 88 model 0. It's the one I donated and painted it. And I put it on permanent display. Alrighty, I'll be right back. F4U Corsair, Pappy Boynton in the Pacific. Here's the one that they retrieved from the bottom of Lake Michigan and took years and renovated, restored the entire plane. Here's what it looked like. They restored it in the building we're going to go to next. This is a dive bomber, carrier-borne, World War II, the Pacific. There's one of its engines. Look at the planetary gear. I think that's what they call it. Wonderful display back here to the Tuskegee Airmen. The Red Tails. What a movie. Highly suggest you watch it. The Red Tails. Highly suggest that you watch it. Yes, sir. Heroes, one and all. Well, here, folks, with the Tuskegee Airmen, I'm going to end this part 1. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in part 2. Have a great day. I think you're going to like this next part. There's going to be a little space involved. But over in the other building, ooh, is there going to be some space. Wow. Tell you that Falcon 9, you know, those some pretty badass engines. You know, especially when you have over 30 of them. That Merlin vacuum engine, some pretty bad stuff. Pretty cool, and I mean bad being good. Wait till you see what I'm going to show you in the next one. Be right back. See you then.